To be a critical thinker requires more than self-analysis. The first step towards rationality is to realize one is not God. Our categories are not absolutes. When we consider the impact something has on us, we mortify it. This is why Theo-Logicians require science and faith to be amalgamated. In any journey, there is destination and the path we take. The destination is defined by our theology and the passage by science. Science can tell us if we are heading towards our objective. The miles traveled as measured by an odometer inform us the distance we have gone since the car was made. However, the odometer tells us nothing about our destination. This is why measuring gross national product is such a pointless activity. All the GNP tells us is the amount of money that changed hands. The index tells us nothing about why the money changed hands. This is why it makes sense from the perspective of the GNP to go around at night and break windows and by day, go around and repair them. However, even if one or two people get richer, the vast number of people and the community itself is made worse off. War makes some wealthy, but the warring nations are always the worse off because of the war. The destination is the justification for the energy expended in order to make the journey. The journey does not justify itself. There is a decision all persons make at some point in their life. As we emerge from childhood, we pose this question to ourselves: will we be an asset or a liability? That is it. Which we decide puts us upon a path that is hard to change. How we respond determines our future and how we mature. We all mature physically. We do not all mature spiritually. This is not an insignificant decision that is made, nor does it remain something only the individual need concern themselves about. The apatriotic, who are the ones who become a liability, pose a danger to those who work to be an asset. The goal of the apatriotic is to enslave the a priorian. Even though the mission of Theo-Logics can be stated in different ways, at root our mission is to defeat the insane and cure irrationality. Only sanity can overcome parasitism, which is itself a product of an irrational mind. It never pays to exploit others in the system. Theo-Logics teaches intellectual survival in a mad world. Parasitism cannot exist in a sane community. Discover how to survive with your intellect intact, even when living in a world of objectively irrational persons. How to gain an intellectual edge over the maddest of experts. The woke are not asleep so much as insane. The question is not how to wake them up. It is how to protect your sanity from their persistent irrationality, especially when they have power over you and control the institutions of the world. The mission of the church is to impose reason on the world and to protect the sane from the ravages of the terminally irrational. If one has lost their reason, one is as good as dead. We are the coherency of our ideas. We are our minds, and our minds are logically coherent. Without logic, we fade from view, and only insanity remains. For humanity, that is death. You are your identity, not your body. When you are resurrected, your identity is restored, and you are made whole again, making you sane. The beam in your eye is, of course, not a literal thing. It is the incoherency of your mental processes. To take the beam out of your eye requires us to think straight. This is difficult, if not impossible, to do by ourselves. This is why we need what the Bible calls the church. This brings us to apologetic, which is the activity of giving a reason for the hope we have. Our reasons give us our theology. Theo-Logics brings together science and faith. A true theology is a science. A true science produces evidence for the existence of God. Theo-Logics joins science with theology in order to explain the hope we have using hard, verifiable data expressed in quantifiable proofs. What is more insane than a people who do not believe God? Atheists claim there is no God, but then what gives them direction? If there is no perfection in their life, they are lost. If you cannot tell truth from lies, you are insane. That is technically inarguable. The minimum requirement of sanity is the ability to distinguish lie from truth. It is a simple matter to deny the existence of God, but what are the implications? We cannot demand of an atheist that they prove their claim, as it is difficult to prove a negative, though it has been done. But it is fair to question their sanity. It is reasonable to question the reason for the faith they have. What is the atheist's apologetic? Ask them to prove physical reality exists. If there is no God, there must be a substance that is real and which composes everything phenomenologically real. Prove this exists, atheist. If someone denies God exists yet cannot prove anything else exists, they cannot tell truth from lies and can be dismissed as technically out of their senses. Do we lie, cheat, and steal, or be honest? And what does it matter? If we cannot discern the difference or the importance of discerning the difference, have we failed to meet a basic requirement of citizenship, of humanity, or of rationality? What kind of society does not impose a basic test on its citizens to see if they meet the requirements of the civilization or of civilized living? If we as a society do not seek perfection, we are not attracted to order and beauty and will end up lacking the harmony a society needs. Theo-Logics is an association for sane persons. Sanity gives us ambition because we are striving towards perfection in one form or the other. There is an old joke about the insane being people who keep trying the same thing over and over again, expecting it to work, but the adage is not without value. There are solutions and alternatives to what has been tried over and over again. This makes those who keep trying the same things over and over again to make this system work technically insane. The insane do not want out of the system, they want it to work for them. Even if it does not work for 99% of the people ever, there is this infinitesimal chance it will work for them if they keep trying. This dream makes them part of the insane and keeps the insane system operational. It is this lie the insane believe, that they have a chance to win impossible odds, that keeps the system running. The system is parasitic, but more, it is evil. It is insane because it is illogical. It cannot justify what it does nor legitimize its claims. It is founded solely and completely on power disparities and ultimately on the power of the rich and powerful to exploit and oppress the weak and poor. This system epitomizes the law of the jungle, which is the doctrine that claims might makes right and the ends justifies the means. Equality is not possible in the apriotic system, nor justice. The system precludes them. Equality and justice cannot be had by force, and law cannot be enforced without power disparities and the utilization of the law of the jungle. The insane cannot create a just system because insanity is predicated on a calculus that must disadvantage the sane. This is the war we are in. The war is not against flesh and blood, but against insanity. This is why the primary field of battle is the mind of man. The reason why we are required to oppose principalities and powers is because they encapsulate the madness. They are the carriers of the insanity. God has made things simple for us. We are faced with a clear and decisive duality. This duality is expressed in many different ways, but it comes down to the fact we are either an asset or a liability. If we are an asset, we add value to the things of God. If we are a liability, we consume what God produced without giving back an increase. To bear fruit, we must be as the vine that brings forth fruit. If not, it is cut off of the trunk. Theology gives science direction, and science gives religion a path to follow. To do this, we need a mechanism by which assets can be converted to equity. Assets are property and a quality of things. Equity is the quantification of their value. We add value to assets through work. Work is the way we bear fruit. If we bear fruit, we add value to the assets of God. This value can be measured as equity. Every theologician is paid for the work they do. But no one can claim anything they did not create, nor become a liability. We are accountable for the costs we create and are not obliged by any cost created by anyone else. This is the only feasible equality. We are all equally responsible for our own costs. The difference between what exists and Theo-Logics is the level of rationality. The sane are logical, they are predictable. The sane function off of data, not emotion. The theological looks at what is being done or what the proposal is. What leads to one person working for another? To go a step further, one could ask, is what I am doing and how I am doing it the best way for it to be done? All progress comes from specialization, and so you see, in context, what you are best at and what others are best at, in the context of what needs doing, and divide the work accordingly, which requires being part of a group, which requires a theologic church.